Okay, so we're back for part 3. We'll listen to the song again as far as we have it. There's always the possibility of changes. Last time when I left off, kind of had a punk beat building up in the second one, or what I would call a punk beat, that kind of stutter step beat. Instead of talking about it, why don't we just get right to it? So, just an intro with the instruments. Here comes the drums. I'm really not sure. I kind of like the punk beat. I like that it builds the pace up. We're really close to the edge of like where I would want to end things. I don't think I like the high synth. It's just starting to get annoying instead of interesting to me. Drum intro. I don't know. I'm really torn on that beat. Definitely needs something more. It's too light. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is just settle myself with at least one of the instruments. Or one of the bars, which I'm going to extend the drums out on the second piece because I know that I'm going to want to kind of emphasize that the song is ending. Maybe with some hits, you know, da 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 da, stop, video starts. So I'm hitting select all, copy. Dragging this down, hoping that the thunderstorm that has now just started behind me isn't showing up in my audio. Or if it is, that it's doing some cool things with the audio. Highly doubt it. That's got a cool feel to it. Of course, the drum set is a little bit too subtle in general. The bass drum sounds good. I'm kind of like the snare sound. I'm using an open hat instead of like cymbals, which is really not good. It's not enough emphasis to like, I don't know, it's not explosive enough for me in sound, I say, as thunder cracks behind me. All right, so I definitely like that. I like the pacing of the song. It still needs to have some more complexity built into it. Obviously, the two instruments we have are really repeating. They're just at different octaves. It can give us a fuller feeling, but at the same time, it can get really, really boring. So again, I'm going to try to stick to the default instruments. And I think we're going to try to overcome this just by adding something a little bit different. I'm going to stick with this, try this PCM synthesizer. Again, some of these synthesizers are they're not going to add aggression. You have to be really tricky with them to add that kind of aggression, usually adding effects like saturation or like bit crushing to give them kind of a grainy feel. And see. I want to keep up the pace. I want to make it a little more complicated. We used an E and an A. you'll note as I'm placing notes too, I'm staying within a pattern. It's, there's a space between each note. That's going to get really boring soon too, because that means I'm always playing on a particular beat. I'm not adding any accents. Not adding what I would call the human factor. We're getting very robotic. And now I'm kind of doing like a fanciful type thing, especially because the piano sound always leads me back to feelings of like movies like Legend, where you get that very delicate piano sound in a room. I will end up changing this sound out. It's just kind of called out to me the moment I start putting notes down. So now I'm kind of repeating the last phrase. And then I'm going to do another trick here, which is I'm going to step this down in the next part. So we have kind of a descending thing. Now this might not sound great. Sounds almost good. I got to change some of the notes. Now, again, if you don't know music theory, I know very little. This is where it would become very handy to know, because you would start to get an idea of what scale may work here. For me, I have the idea, the sound that I want in my head. I know I want it to be a step down. I know I want it to almost be like an echo of what just came before it. Right there. Now, of course, this is an intro, so I know that I want to introduce myself, get to the point very quick. I know I want to kind of have like a big explosive end to it, and then start the video. So I'm doing that through speed more than I'm doing that through dynamics right now. Now we have to decide, is that good enough to end on? All right. So to me, that's the beginning of the end. I would want to go from and right there. I want to make the change to kind of move to end the song. And so what I'm going to do again is try to lower both the series of notes that I have just by a couple of notes. Let's see here. I think I've hit something that I really like here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that down so that I can easily go back to where I expect it to end as far as the notes go. So let's go again. So I think I want to try and end on an E again. I don't know why I keep opening up the drums. Sounds like an old black and white piano sting. It's gotten pretty corny at this point. And that may be a sign that it's time to stop what we're doing, go back and play a little bit more with some of the other tones instead of driving forward with the song. We know we want an end, not really sure where to end with it. Just clear our palette, start over. little ending part, not so great. I'm just going to go ahead and clear it. I kind of want to forget it even existed. So. Yeah, I may just end it on that. So remember, we can change the instrument sounds as we go along. That's the beauty of writing things in MIDI progressions. What matters is the notes, not necessarily the sound. So we can, switch things up as we want. I will say this. I'm going to put the loop on just so it plays through. This particular track sounds very like brass instrument to me. I could go more symphonic and actually add trumpet sounds to it. I could chord them out. And that would make it a little more bombastic. I do want to... Let's stop for a second and focus on this piano. Because as nice as it sounds to me, I don't want it to be so delicate. So I'm going to open up the instrument interface. And I'm going to start by looking at some strings, maybe. Gives it a very royal sound to it. Now it's got a really like fantasy type sound to it. I really kind of like that. It's not solving my issue with it being very delicate sounding, but I have another thought on this too. So now that we've kind of got a sound we like, we can add in some effects by clicking the I effects button on the track. And let's... So Decimator in this is a little bit like a bit crusher. Oh, it's a lot of bit like a bit crusher. So 24-bit sound. You should be able to start hearing it kind of deteriorate a little bit. We're taking information away. Now you should start to hear that crackle. It makes it a little bit staticky because the note information is starting to be missing. We can change our sample frequency. Alright, I kind of like that. It gives a nice cracking, breaking up sound. Saturator is distortion. You got to be careful with this. Lower the output level. Because we're going to keep pushing the volume up. And the trick is you can see these levels aren't seriously overtaking things. You can still hear the other instruments. So I really like the way this sounds now. And it looks like the app is actually frozen up. So that's going to be a bummer, largely because if it did just freeze up, the one thing I dislike about Chord Gadget is that if you don't click save at the end of your session, it oftentimes removes everything you did. So I'm going to stop here and hope that I can unfreeze the app without just simply closing it. In the hopes that I can save this. If not, I'm going to have to go back, watch this video just to rebuild this stuff so we can continue on the next video. So, hooray! Embrace the chaos.